So you ever looked at your partner and wondered maybe where the spark went, or maybe you're sitting next to each other on the couch, but it feels like you're miles apart?
Today we're talking about something that many couples experience, but few couples feel comfortable admitting, that quiet drift of losing attraction. But what does it mean? And how can couples find their way back? Here to answer our questions, relationship expert Dr. Shonda Craft. She's always good with the hot topics here. All righty, Dr. Craft, let's get into it. Talk to us about this, because I think you're right. I think it happens to a lot of people over time, but nobody really wants to broach the topic.
Yeah, and it is one of those kind of taboo topics, but that's something that's also so common, right? And it may start as simple as maybe you recognize you're having fewer hugs or kisses with your partner, and then suddenly you're not talking to each other, and then suddenly you're questioning, what happened? Where'd the relationship go? And so, there's a lot of different reasons why we lose attraction to our partners. Some of them are maybe seen as somewhat selfish, right? Or judgmental. Such as changes in physical appearance or how your partner is handling their own personal hygiene. Some of them are about, maybe places where you feel like your lives are diverging. So, maybe one partner is really excelling in work or their education or their own personal growth, and the other partner is not moving as quickly or in the same direction. And that can start to feel kind of unattractive because you don't feel like you maybe necessarily have something in common, or you're not seeing that spark in your partner anymore.
Sometimes I get it. Your partner, their identity can be associated with your own, and you feel like you're losing that. So if you start to recognize that you're losing some of this, what are some things that you can do to kind of get back on track?
Yeah, well, definitely first and foremost is really looking at that communication standpoint and being prepared to talk about it. And in order for us to talk about something that's really difficult or challenging with our partners, we need to do some self-reflection first. Really thinking about, okay, is this something that feels new to me? Is this an ongoing pattern? Have I noticed this happening gradually over time? Am I still interested in this relationship and this person? Because having that sense of what is your intention before you start to broach the topic with your partner can really help have a more planful conversation with them.
Because Shonda, it might be that both of you are feeling this way, but it might just be that one of you is.
Yeah, and that can be tricky, right? If you're the person that is losing attraction, it could be difficult to talk to your partner about that because you may be saying that to them in other ways, right? Maybe you're being overly judgmental. Maybe you are not complimenting them as much as possible. Maybe you're just not even spending time with them or talking to them at all. If you're that receiving partner, right? The partner on the other side that's kind of like, hey, do you still love me? Do you still find me attractive? Are you still interested in me? It can be scary to hear the answer to that question, right? So, either way, kind of girding yourself to be prepared for what you need to say and what you need to hear. It takes a lot of mindfulness and a lot of planning.
Approach, I'm guessing in this situation is going to be everything as well. How you word something is going to be incredibly important when having tough conversations like this.
Yes. I mean, our familiar favorite phrase, right? Use I statements in your communication. So, rather than saying something like, it feels like you don't care about me anymore, saying, I feel like we're less connected, right? So like really owning what it is that you're experiencing on your side and trying to create that space for your partner to be able to respond, not in a yes or no question or hopefully not in a defensive mode, but for them to be able to feel like they're also invited in to be able to say, yeah, I've also noticed that something feels a little bit off. Let's talk about maybe where that changed or how that changed.
Yeah, and if you can't do it yourself, that's maybe a time where you might consider some counseling.
Yeah, absolutely. Having that neutral third party, somebody to look at your interactions, to kind of give you the words a little bit. And, depending on where it goes, right? If the attraction really has faded away to the point where the relationship is maybe not viable, having somebody else there to really talk about, okay, well, what does that mean? Could definitely be very helpful.
All right. Dr. Shonda Craft, as always, we appreciate your insight. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you both. Have a great day.
You too.